So hello everyone, welcome to this another video of this channel. I'm Abhishek Verma and you are watching Spring Basics with Spring Boot series. Today's video is going to be a practical hands-on video and we will see how to implement inversion of control in our code. We will be starting with the same Java based code which we used in the previous video and convert it step by step to a Spring code and then implement inversion of control in it. Now it will be a small code only, but few things which I want to tell you in advance. First of all, when you are using Spring, then you have an option to work with the XML configuration or Java configuration. Nowadays, most of the projects are making usage of Java configuration only, until unless you are working with very old project. So that's why in all my videos, I will be using Java configuration. If you want the same thing in XML configuration, then you can take help of ChatGPT or Gemini. That will work fine for you. Second thing is that here I'm making usage of Spring Framework version 6 and Java 17. So for Spring 6, you need Java 17 at minimum. And there is no such requirement that in order to learn Spring 6, you need to be aware of Spring 5, 4 or 3 or something like this. I'm teaching each and everything from the basics but using the latest version. In case in your project you are making usage of Spring 5 or you are having JDK 8 or JDK 11 on your machine, then you can work with Spring 5. Same things will be applicable there also. Only some small changes are there, but that are not required as of now. So just take care in mind that you need to have Java 17 in your machine in order to work with Spring 6. Now let's directly start with the code.
So now as you can see, we are now in the STS IDE Spring Tool Suite. I'm having demo 0, which I covered in the previous video. Again, I'm having this demo 1. Yeah. Now this demo 1 is as of now the copy of the previous demo only. That's why I mentioned you in the last video that you need to see the demo. You need to have a look towards the code because I will keep using the same code, but it is not possible for me to show each and every class again and again. Otherwise, only your time will be wasted in that. Yeah. So it's better you remember and you see the previous video also. Yeah. Otherwise, you can just quickly pause the video and you can watch the previous video at 2x or something out this. Yeah. Now here you see that here I'm again not using any particular kind of dependency. Again, this is a very basic one. But in order to make usage of the what I say Spring, we need to have some particular dependency here. Yeah. So what we will do is we will just change it the code something like this. Here we will be saying here dependencies. So this is going to be the first part. So we will be using the dependency. Now which dependency? Let's go here. So here we are. So here as you can see, I have already searched Spring context in advance because that was the only dependency required in order to make usage of the Spring. So I'll just go here somewhere on this particular point, and there you can see so many variants are there. Maybe at the point of time when you are watching this video in future, there is some latest variant. So you can use that particular one. Okay. Currently here 6.1.10 is the latest one. So I'm using that particular one. So I'll copy this from here and let me go and paste it out here. So here we go. So this is the one and let me just quickly paste. Now I don't like this particular commented line. So let me just remove it. Now as I told you that as a good practice, even in the Maven playlist I shown you that don't keep the versions here. Always keep versions somewhere on the top. So here I have already made a variable for this spring.version. So what I will do is I'll copy this and here I will do it in this particular way. So I'll say a dollar symbol here, then I will say these braces here, and within this I will pass spring.version. This means that now in future, even if the version changes, I don't need to go somewhere on the bottom and need to change the version. I can just change it on the top. Now you will say, okay, Abhishek, what's the difference between changing the version in line number 13 and line number 19? These are very much nearby to each other. But the point is, guys, here the goal is not only to keep changing the version in this demo. In your demo, you may be using 10 dependencies. Now imagine going to each and every dependency one by one and changing the version is easy, or changing the version at one place. Again, this is just a kind of a variable. Okay. So instead of writing the same number again and again, we are keeping it in a variable of spring.version. So let me just quickly save it, and here let me go to this particular point and let me say here something like maven update. So this is also a good practice. Many times what happens is that it is not able to download or refresh the project on its own. So at that time you can just do a maven update and it will get the dependencies for you. Now the moment you add this particular dependency, you see you are getting so many things: micrometer commons, micrometer observations. Yeah, so these are some dependencies which Spring may be using. Spring AOP, beans is there, context is there, core is there, expression is there, JCL is there. All dependencies came to you automatically. Yeah. Now if you are watching some other video also, some other tutorial also, you may see they are using multiple dependencies. But my goal is always to use minimal number of dependencies. Your project, whatever the project, even if you are making it for the dummy purpose, it should have a limited number of dependencies only. Yes, because you don't know that which dependency might contain a bug in future. So because of that, only use those dependencies which are actually required for you. If you are not clear whether we need this dependency or not, a simple trick is remove the dependency and see if your code is still working or not. If it is still working, you don't need it. If you are still confused, you can take help of ChatGPT or Gemini nowadays. That's, I mean, so simple thing. Okay. So see any other video, see any other tutorial, but always take care to use only the required dependency. So that's the only dependency which we need for the basics of Spring Boot. We don't need to open this class again, open this pom.xml again and again. So here is the only requirement. Now let me go to this particular point. Now you see the service mock IMPL, service IMPL, service repository IMPL, repository. I'll just quickly open each one of these for you. So this is my owner repository. You can see just a simple method. This is the owner repository IMPL, and here I'm replaced the thing with the bean. So whenever the actual object will be created by the Spring, it will say bean created. So we will come to know when it is creating the bean for you, as per the requirement or in the eager whenever we are starting the application. Yeah. Then same way we have this particular service with us. Then same way we have this real service IMPL with us, which is further invoking the repository. Here also I have mentioned the bean. Then this is my mock service IMPL. You see here I'm saying it is the mock bean created for me. So all these classes I have mentioned in detail in the previous one. Here with config, I won't go as of now because this is empty. Okay, this we will fill later on. So let me just close it quickly. And here this is my demo one. Okay, so I'm just calling it as demo one. And you see again, this is still what I can say is tight coupling, because I'm directly creating the object here. Okay, so this is still tight coupling. This is only for the purpose to show you that things are still working. So many people, what they do is, let me tell you an interesting thing. They say we are making usage of Spring and Spring Boot, and they do tight coupling like this. Yes. So they are putting each and every dependency of Spring Boot. They are saying, okay, we have used Spring Boot because our pom.xml contains the word Spring, and then they are doing like this. So that is tight coupling still. Okay. There is no loose coupling just by using the dependency. You actually need to use it. Okay. So now let's see how the things are going to work. I hope you remember the things from the previous video. If you now comment that, okay, Abhishek, you didn't explain this repository or service class in detail, that means you haven't watched my previous video. Okay. So that's the simple thing. Now here the thing is, we need to remove this dependency. So now the goal is that I don't want to create the object here. Instead, what I will do is I will remove it from here. So let me just quickly remove it, or let me go to this config first of all. So I will go to this config. Here I will create the object. Now again, I can't create the object here directly. So for this, what I will do is, first of all, I will create a particular method which will give me this particular kind of object. And the kind of object is the owner service. Yes, that's the benefit of having your interfaces here. So this is your owner service. Again, we will write it like this. That is going to be my method name here. So this is the one, guys, owner service. So this method is there, and now what it will do is it is going to return you this particular thing. So let me just quickly copy this and let me just paste it here like this, owner service. Yeah, and let me just say Control Shift O. So you see we are getting the owner service and we have imported the mock IMPL owner service sample. So this thing is available to us. So this is my configuration class. Now the thing is that, so that means that now onwards, I won't be creating the object here. Instead, from there, I will be getting the object. Now you will tell me, how can you get the object from there? You will say, okay, Abhishek, that's simple. What we will do is, this is a class. So what we will do here is that we will write here something like this, new of spring config, and here we will say dot, and here then we are going to say something like, is it possible for me? So new of spring config, and then here we can see something like this, owner service. Let's try to write it here. So this, yeah. So you will say, okay, Abhishek, we will do like this, and let's see whether the things are working or not. So things are still working. So now you see we are not creating the owner service object here. Instead, we are getting from there. But guys, this is still tight coupling. Okay, this is not anywhere near to your loose coupling. Why? Because you are asking, you are getting the object still as per your requirement. I told you, you are not going to get the object as per your requirement. You need to get the bean from the container. So we need to take help of the container only. This is not possible. This is a wrong practice. You can't do it like this. That is wrong, guys. Yeah. So now in order to create it a container, what we need to do is, first of all, here we need to write here something, again that particular term, application context. So here let's call it as application context, and we are getting it from the Spring framework. So you will get this only when you will add that particular context dependency. So we will write here application context, and here what we will do is we will say context. So that is going to be your container. So from container only you can get it. Okay, and then here we will say new of annotation. It is something like this, annotation config application context. So that is the one which you need to provide. Yeah. So that is the implementation of it, and that is the interface. So you can see this is your interface application context, and as I mentioned you, the parent of application context is also your bean factory. So somewhere if you go to this listable or hierarchical bean factory, you will find that the parent is bean factory only. So somehow we are making usage of all its benefit, and the parent of this is your application context. So same way we are using it. Now within this application context, we need to provide the name of your configuration class. So here we will say here like this, spring config dot class. So some way like this we will be providing the name of your configuration class, guys. So this is done. Now one thing to tell you, that no one is forcing you that you should give the name as spring config only. It is your choice. If you wish, you can give my name. If you wish, you can give your name. If you wish, you can say here Java, but the naming should be always clear. That's why I'm just calling it as spring config. When I was interacting with the database, I used to call it as JPA config, Hibernate config, JDBC config. So now I'm just calling it as spring config. Yeah. So this is the way. Then how to get this particular bean? So here we will take help of this context. So we will say this context here, and here we will say get bean. So this is the way, guys. We will say here get bean, and within the get bean, here I will say owner service. So let me just quickly write it here. So not here, guys. Why this opened for me? Okay, not here. So I just need to provide here owner service dot class. So this way. So this way you need to get this particular thing, the bean of it. So from the context you are getting the bean. Now this context, it says it is not getting closed, because the close method is not directly available here. Close method is available within the implementation. So directly within application context it is not available. It is available in the implementation. So one way is you just copy the whole name here and you provide it here. So that is one way, because it is a child of it. Other option is that what you can do is you can say context dot close. So what we can do is at the runtime we can do the typecasting of it. So what we will do is we will typecast it to annotation, so that we can write this particular thing. So this also is important. So here we are doing, so as a good practice we should always closing all the resources which we are using. So this is the point, guys. Yeah. So that way, tell me if this is clear or not. Other option is, if you wish, you can directly make usage of this particular one here, and then you can close it directly. But then you will say that, okay, Abhishek, you said we will be using application context, you didn't use the name anywhere. So that's why generally we write the code like this. Okay, we always say application context, at the runtime we close the resource. Even if you are not closing the resource, things are going to work fine, guys. Yeah, so this we have done. Now let's try to see here. So let me just quickly run the things and let's see whether it is going to work for me or not, guys. So where is that particular one? Yeah, here it goes, Java application. So this is the one. Okay, here it gave me some error that it didn't find any bean, no such bean definition exception. Okay, I guess I can run it with Spring also. Is there any way? Okay, no, currently it is Java only. Okay, so that application option you will get when you start with the Spring Boot. But here it says I'm not able to get the bean. But we created the bean here. Let me close all other classes once. So close tabs to right. So I provided the name of this config class here and I'm getting the bean from it. But it says I'm not able to provide. Because the mistake is that what we did, just try to understand. Here I wanted to get a bean. So I mentioned it like this. I want a bean of owner service at the runtime. Yeah. Who will provide me this? My IoC container. So application context was the IoC container. Now application context say IoC container said, where is your configuration class? You said it is in the Spring config. So that is my configuration class there. But you didn't mention to the Spring first that this is your configuration class. Okay. So you give the path to your class, but you never mentioned that this is your configuration class. So for this, we need to write it like this, configuration. Okay. So here this is the annotation @configuration. There is no need of any arguments for this, no parameters. Okay. So only this @configuration. So now it became your configuration class. So Spring will come to know that, okay, this is actually my configuration class. That is the number one thing. Then after this, here again, if you will try to run this, so let me just quickly run it with the help of this Java application. Again, it will throw the exception because you simply made a method. Where are you saying this is the bean? Again, we didn't mention anywhere this is the bean. So for this, we need to write it like this, @bean. Okay. Again, this is coming from your Spring framework. So two annotations are required. This annotation will say that from now onwards, this is your configuration class. I mean, just try to imagine in your cupboard also, there may be so many different kinds of clothes you are having, but there is some special cloth for, let's say, some special occasion. So you need to tag it somehow that, okay, this is for the special occasion. So out of so many class, how will it will come to know that this is the configuration? Here you can give any name in this one. Maybe you are giving the name of some service sample, but you need to say this is the configuration by writing it like this. And then how to create a bean? By annotating it with @bean. So this you said @bean. Now let me just quickly run this and let's see whether this will work or not. So again, let's say Java application. So this time you see it said owner service IMPL mock bean created. So what happened when you executed the application? It came here to the IoC container. In the IoC container, your configuration class was loaded first of all. Then you said I need a bean of owner service. Yes. And then you invoke the find owner. So since you invoke the find owner, this particular line got invoked. And this is the mock one. So we are not using repository anywhere. Yes. And here it is providing you the bean. Now, obviously, because of this line, we are getting this particular one, find owner in this. Yeah. So I hope you can get this particular point. But now you tell me at which point of time object was created. When we invoked the getBean method or when the application just started, when it was done. First of all, application started, it loaded the things and then we asked for the bean. So at which time it got created? That's why this statement is very, very important. Let me just comment this particular one. Yeah. And as of now, let me comment this also. So that means currently our main method is empty. So when my main method is empty, let me just quickly run this. So you see when my main method is empty, no bean is getting created. So even though I have mentioned this is my configuration class, even though I have mentioned this is my bean, but nowhere bean is getting created because if it is creating the bean, that means it will invoke the constructor. If it is invoking constructor, this line should be printed. It didn't print it, it didn't create bean. Now what I will do is I will just write this particular container. So I will just write the line for the container. And now let's see the interesting part. So here I'll say Java application again. Now the moment you say that we are starting the container, so what happened, this container loaded your configuration. There it identified that okay, in future there is a requirement of owner service bean. So let me create that bean in advance. Since it is creating a bean for you in advance, so this controller or this particular constructor got invoked here, which is owner service IMPL mock bean created. So that's why we call it as eager initialization. Yes, that's why now whenever you need, you just need to say get bean and it will provide you quickly. It is not going to create at the runtime. Now if you will just say get bean, now let's see what will happen. So the moment you will say get bean, there is no difference in the line because bean was already created. Now it has just provided to you in this part. You are not using it, that's your choice. Yeah, if you want to use it, then you just need to say find owner or whatever the method you want to invoke. Yes, and that is the loose coupling here, guys. Yeah, now you will say, okay Abhishek, why is it loose coupling? You are still using the new keyword here. But imagine, do I need to change this particular line of code? Just frankly tell me. If there is any change in repository, any change in the service, I still don't need to change it because my configuration class will remain single, only this particular one. If this is only going to remain my configuration class, if anything required, I just need to do it changes here only, no need to change there. And now you will say that okay, here it is tight coupling. So believe me, the job of this configuration is to make objects only. There is no other job. So that is the only thing. Yeah. And okay, I will tell you something very interesting at end of this video, not now. Yeah. So that is one particular thing. Now some of you say, can we have multiple configuration class? The answer is yes, you can even have multiple configuration class. Then you can provide it as comma separated here. Yeah, that is possible. But generally here, like in this kind of scenario, we are using only one configuration class. Later on, when we will make our application bigger, at that point of time, we will use multiple configuration classes. Okay. Now the time is that as of now, we are just using it. Now again, my manager said that okay, now we don't want this owner service mock anymore. We want the actual one. So, but again, this may be required. So what I'll do is I'll just copy paste it here and I will create one more of it. Okay. I will call it as owner service 2. And here what I will do is I just need an object of the repository also. So let me just quickly do it in this particular way. So this is for the repository. And let me write here repository here like this. So this is repository. Let me copy this name. Let me just quickly provide it here repository. Let me just provide it here quickly as repository. And here we don't need any argument here. Okay. So this particular part is done. So this is the way you are creating repository bean. Now in the real one, you need to provide the things here. So you see, this way you are providing the object of repository within the object of service, or more better words, you are providing the bean of repository within the bean of service. But there is some confusion because here you see the name of both these are same, owner service IMPL. So we need to clarify that this one is from the mock and this one is from the actual one. So what we will do is that here I will write it like this. So I hope that you must have seen it at some particular point of time, that this way you can differentiate if you have multiple classes with same name from different packages. Okay. So now we are clarifying that this owner service IMPL is from my mock package and this one is from my actual package. Okay. And obviously the different names you are providing here, guys. Yeah. So this is the way. And now what is the name of your bean? That is very interesting. The name of this bean is owner repository. So your method name is your bean name here. Okay. So here it is the bean name, this particular way. Yeah. Now the thing is that here, this time I want the second bean, not the first one. Let's see whether it will be able to do on its own or not. So let me run it again. So on running this again, what you will see is that here, if let me just scroll it a bit up. So what it did, first of all, this line got executed. Now when this line got executed, what happened? It loaded all the 3 beans in advance. The mock one, the real one, and even the repository one. All of them got invoked. Yeah. Now since all of them was invoked, and again you see a difference. First of all, here it is in the same sequence order. First you mentioned this, so this class got loaded. When this class got loaded, first requirement was to create bean of it. So that got created. Then the requirement was to create bean of owner service too. But within this, it was dependent on the repository. So first of all, it created for the repository and then it created for the owner service too. So many times in the interview or in questions, they may even ask you the sequence part also. So that is the sequence. If you're this bean, so by default, the sequence is the serial order. If any bean is dependent on any other, so first that will be created and then obviously this will be used. Yeah. So that is the point here, guys. Now, here the point is it says that I'm confused. Why I'm confused? Because you are saying that provide me the bean of owner service. But what I found was that there are 2 beans of owner service and owner service too. So which one do you want? Okay. So it may happen that many times that you go to the market to buy something and they say there are 2 variants. Which one you want? Okay. So if you are aware of, then it is fine. Otherwise, you will call your mom or your dad and then you will say, okay, which one we should buy. So same is the thing here. So we need to somehow mention. So that's why generally we don't write the code like this. Instead, we have a variant of it. Okay. So now let's discuss the variant for this. Other things will remain same. Now we are just discussing some small variants. So the variant is that generally instead of writing it like this, what we do is here we just provide the name of the bean. Now name of the bean is this one, your method name. So your method name is the name of your bean, guys. So this is the name of the bean. But the point is that if you will directly do this, it will provide you an object. Yeah, the data type will be object, not the owner service. So again, you need to do a typecasting here. So here let's do a typecasting in this particular way. So again, like I don't know why this happens again and again to me only. So again, this way we can do the typecasting. So now we are clearly saying that there can be many. Out of them, I just want owner service too. It will provide me object type, but I want to typecast it to owner service. Now if we will run this, so here what, let's see. So it created beans for all of them, but it invoked your actual one, and that's why it is getting the owner from the repository. See the difference? Okay, with the repository it is working. Now you say no, I want the first one. You just need to change one simple thing. Okay, that's the difference. Not a very big change in the code, just one simple thing and your code will be changed completely. So here you can see you just need to run it like this. Now it is from the service. Yeah, that's the difference, guys. Again, there is one more variant of it. Okay, let's talk about that one, and that is something which we will be keep using in all these upcoming demos. The last variant is that instead of typecasting it later on, the other option which you are having is that instead of typecasting, you can do it like this, owner service dot class. So the moment you are getting it, at that time itself, you can provide the data type. So one option is that you just simply provide the data type, but then it will be confused if there are multiple beans of same data type. Then option is that you just provide the exact name. Now the name is same as your method name. Then you need to typecast. Third option is if you don't want to typecast later on, in the starting only you tell which one you want. Yeah. So that was the main things about this particular one. Just one more small interesting part, that now let's say that you want this one. So obviously you will give this name. Yeah. So that is the name of your bean. So I will just provide the name of the bean here. And when you will provide this particular bean name, so obviously that particular one will be executed. So that will be executed, all other beans will be created. That's fine. Yeah. But what happens is that in terms of writing the method name, it is fine. But when I want to call it, I don't like this name as owner service too. I mean, just see, it is not a good name, guys. Okay. Like whatever, this used to happen when there was the British rule. At that time, they used to have Queen Elizabeth II and something like this, or King George II or something like this. Nowadays, we should have a better name. Okay. So for better name, what you can do is you can rename your bean here. So obviously here also you can give a better name, or you can just rename your bean like this. Yeah, I really don't know why this keeps happening to me. So here you say like this. So you call it as owner service real. So now we are renaming it here. Now let's try to see whether will it first of all use this owner service 2 or not. Does it still remembers? So let me just quickly execute it. So here when I'm executing, now it is able to create all of them, but when I'm executing it says no such bean definition. This time it is not able to found because you have renamed. So when you have renamed it, now that means that you should be using the latest name always. So whatever the name you are using there, same name you should be able to use here. So that is something very, very important to remember, guys. So that is the way. So today we learned what is inversion of control. Now you see I'm not directly creating the object. In this class, I neither created object of service, I neither created object of repository. Still I'm able to get the things. From where? With the help of inversion of control, with the help of this particular container. How this container did? With the help of this particular configuration class. How I made it configuration class? By calling it at the rate configuration. Within that, I just need to provide here at the rate bean. Why I need to do something like this? Because I was using two class with the same name from different packages. So that's why this is required. Also, you see this is eager initialization. Okay. Now, one important thing which I want to tell you is, now you guys will say that, okay, Abhishek, here this was a very simple project, only 3 classes. So you need to write it like this. Now you keep on telling us that you worked with the project of 20 classes, 20 repositories, 20 service IMPL. Do we need to actually write those many things here? The answer is no. In future, this class will become empty. Or not even that, I will completely delete this class. Okay. In future, you don't even need this class. Something will happen magically. But the point is, if I will directly show you the magic, then you will just simply call me a magician. Okay. And you won't need to come to know that how this magic happens. So we need to learn everything step by step. So this we are just learning for the concept of understanding only. In the reality, you are not even going to write this much amount of thing. I mean, why you should be doing this much amount of hard work, guys? You already have a hard work of writing the business logic. So no need to write this much configuration class. It is only for the learning purpose for next 2-3 videos. After that, we will be switching on to Spring Boot. But for that also, this is important. Again, as I say, many Spring Boot learners or many people who are currently using Spring Boot, they don't even know how the bean is created, how the things happen. I mean, even if you will ask them how to rename a bean, they will get confused. But today you know. So believe me, you are even better than them. Okay. So that's the interesting point. I hope you enjoyed the demo. Now the thing which you need to do is download the demo, try the things on your own, try each and every step one by one. If you have missed anything, watch the video again and share it with your friends. Thanks everyone.